Swift.
On Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricinfo Match Day. It's a potential dress rehearsal for what could be a semi-final. Who knows, maybe even more. But New Zealand have lost their way after starting with 4 wins, a couple of losses, including an all-time classic against Australia. They come up against a South African side that managed to get over the line in a close game against Pakistan. So this makes for some build-up and some panel with Stephen Harmison and Sanjay Manjrekar for the first time on our platform on this particular edition. Good to see you back, Sanjay.
Yeah, and bad days for Cricinfo that they had to finally come to me. It's a bit like England.
We save you for the fixtures that really matter.
So semis and finals, I'm going to be with you guys. Right?
But that is if you're not in demand elsewhere. But this is about New Zealand. We can go on like this, Hami. Thank God we have you in the middle to just stretch your arms. New Zealand need to pick themselves up though. Australia bullied them in some ways with the bat. I wonder if South Africa would now say, right, you know, that's the way to play New Zealand now. Maybe de Kock and whoever at the top of the order can actually take down Trent Boult in Pune.
Yeah, I think that's the key thing, is whether New Zealand can bounce back from that Australia defeat. New Zealand need to win, because I think if New Zealand win, then they've more or less set this game up for a semi-final. If New Zealand lose, I think there'll be sort of squeaky backside time to think, ooh, I might get done in the back door here. That, you know, the Pakistan Afghanistan might just hit me for that fourth spot. So I think it's a crucial game for them to get back on the horse and get a victory.
Yeah, that they've lost to India and then lost to Australia. Now we're looking at the tournament pan out in a way where perhaps New Zealand got the easier games early on with nothing against England as an opening fixture. This is a test. If they go down to South Africa, that could possibly be maybe New Zealand not as good as we think they are.
I think New Zealand is pretty good. In fact, I'm not convinced by South Africa. Couple of times, you know, they lost to Netherlands chasing, and against Pakistan chasing didn't look convincing at all. And New Zealand, even if they've lost to Australia, when you look at the game, they came very close to winning it. Maybe in the bowling lineup, if they have a genuine sort of spinner, apart from Glenn Phillips, I think things might be a little different, because 388 was a winning score, and that they got so close is credit to their batters. But maybe a little bit of an X factor in the spin bowling.
They might need to make that change, because Lockie Ferguson may or may not be fit for this one. So, assuming Lockie is out, does Tim Southee come in with all his experience? This is Pune, of course, Sanjay. Or is there a case to get in Southee for another seamer?
Yeah, Pune is not an obvious pitch where you want an extra spinner. Maybe Chennai you would. But I'm seeing increasingly teams that are winning 50 overs matches have game-changing spinners in the middle. Why is Pakistan struggling? They aren't getting wickets in the middle overs. They have to rely on a Haris Rao for a Shaheen Afridi. And wrist spinners, something about wrist spinners, Kuldeep Yadav for India has been tremendous.
Zampa and Kuldeep.
Zampa, I mean, he's got 4 wicket hauls on the trot. So is Southee from that angle could be a change, but then who will be their pace bowling will be Trent Boult
and Matt Henry. And Matt Henry.
As support. I think that's not so bad if they focus on that angle. If they look at the last game against Australia as a thing that we can't allow oppositions to get 388, that's too much. Then maybe that change.
I mean, Nisham is here to stay with the innings he played, so they have a seam option ahead of Chapman. Does Southee make more sense?
I think Southee has to play. I think they have to get him into the World Cup. I think later on, if New Zealand are going to figure in the semi-final, potentially final, they're going to need that Southee experience, I think, especially in Indian conditions, because he's played a lot of cricket over here. So for me, I think that if Southee's fit, I think they need to get him into the game, and it will be a good game for Southee to come back in.
All right.
I have another view on fast bowlers not being able to control batters, and we've seen fast bowlers conceding 20, 25 runs and over. Whether there is a trend now, you know, Hami, whether captains will start saying, you know, let me bowl the spinners in a death situation kind of thing, because we are seeing teams reach 388, and if you look at the bowling figures of the opposition, the fast bowlers have gone for runs, and the spinners have not been as expensive. It's just a trend over the years where you're afraid to go to the spinner because they can concede a 20-run over. But now you've got fast bowlers doing that quite regularly. Maybe batters are now more accustomed to.
For example, if you take what you're suggesting in the last game, maybe Zampa should have been bowling at the death.
Usama Mir as a wrist spinner towards the end.
Right.
And also, if you look at T20 cricket, the IPL, we had Gujarat Titans using Noor Ahmed towards the end.
Yes.
So maybe there is a trend change here where spin could be a better way to control batters who are now used to. I saw 1 over in the last game, Australia.
He's going to convince us about this. Be ready.
Yeah, and they're going to edit this, most of this out. Is that you had Pat Cummins come in and bowl a slow ball outside off, and there was a run taken. Next ball he comes in for no reason. There's a quick ball right up, and the batter is expecting it, and he's hit that for a 6. The third ball is again a slower ball. It's almost like the batters know what's coming from the seam bowler, and they've become so good at it. Maybe give them something different. Hence the suggestion of Isodi, but I'm with Hami in the end. You tend to, I mean, it's easy for us to talk about a spin bowler here, but New Zealand might go with
Harmison. They would love that option.
Would you be?
I don't think they've got a shirt big enough to fit Harmison. I know that.
Carry on.
Anything on that though? If they do have the quality of spin to bowl spin at the death.
I think what's happening now is I think there's so many sort of these matchups in the way the game is the analyst side of the game, and the way it's a fine detail now. I think it's getting predictable. And I sometimes don't mind when it's getting predictable. In a test match, you set a player up, you go for your plan, bang, you nail it. That's predictable. But in one-day cricket now, the way the bats are, the short boundaries and everything that goes with it, I think predictability is not your friend anymore. So I think there's so many times I've watched in this World Cup so far, a seamer hit a 6 metre length, a bash a 6 metre length, and it is so hard to hit the ball downtown or across the line. And then you get to the death, and the guy who's gone at 4 and over, hitting 6.5 metres, which has been hard to time, go to the Yorker and go for 15 or 16 off the Yorker, off the over. So I think it comes down to the bowler's game plan might need to change rather than the actual discipline itself.
Yeah, it might also be something we see in a game with two sides that have the quality and that have genuine chances of playing a semi-final. But just to carry on the point raised by Sanjay and Steve, let's talk about two bowlers, similar as far as what their description is. Left arm fast bowling is supposed to be Trent Boult's forte. He's had a quietish World Cup, not the impact of the new ball. Marco Jansen, on the other hand, has proved to be a bit of an X factor for South Africa. They're very different in terms of the type of bowlers they are, even though they're the same on skill set. Why has Jansen worked and not Trent Boult?
I think the height factor of Jansen is what I think, just as I mentioned there, that sort of 5.5, 6 metre length. Marco Jansen has got this trait which Rhys Topley's got. For a tall man, Jason Holder does it. For a tall man, bowls a fuller length, and it's not floaty. So for me, if I was bowling a full length, it would be more floated. It was a challenge to get it up there. Where Marco Jansen bowls that fuller length, and no batter wants to come forward to Marco Jansen. Rhys Topley at his height, and I think because of that, he is getting more out of the surface than somebody like Trent Boult, who's a little bit more skiddier, comes onto the bat a bit more. And for Trent, he has to pull his length back for his stock delivery. And I think because of that, then he needs the one to swing. I don't think it's swung as much. I don't think the new white balls have swung as much. I think Shaheen Shah Afridi's shown that he's had a struggle with the new white ball. So I think because of Marco Jansen's height, that's why he's more effective, possibly, than Trent Boult.
Just the numbers for you before you carry on with Steve's point, Sanjay. 2 wickets in 24 overs in the power play for Boult, and 10 wickets in 27 power play overs for Jansen.
Also, maybe the fact that, before the game begins, people are talking about, just play out Trent Boult. And, there are other options to go after. Maybe that is happening. But Marco Jansen has more options of getting wickets of different lengths. He's also one of the only South African bowler. Rabada is also not bowling the Yorkers enough. Marco Jansen does that. He did that in the last game. So just Marco Jansen's ability to get wickets in that slot length, and also short of length, and maybe that is where he's been better than Trent Boult.
All right, and finally, Shamsi, player of the match last game, but will really have to make way for Kagiso Rabada if he comes in, or can he play ahead of Maharaj? Quick word on the South African side.
I feel very strongly about Tabraiz Shamsi playing. In fact, I was hoping that South Africa pick him purely because I see this big weakness with South Africa when they're under pressure. The attack can look one-dimensional with a fast bowler, then they run out of plan B and plan C when they're getting hit. Tabraiz Shamsi ensures that there are no dangerous batters batting in the death, thereby relieving the pressure on the Lungi and Giris, Rabada, Marco Jansen, and of course Coetzee.
Yeah, now Gerald Coetzee is the one who is likely to make way when they want to play the extra spinner. That's the impression we got from South Africa. In a game like this at Pune, can they afford that though?
Yeah, I'm going to contradict what I said about Tim Southey and go, I think Rabada should play for Coetzee. I think Shamsi's too good of an option. He's a game-changing option, X-factor option in the middle to go with Maharaj, to give them that balance of attack, which I think, because it's Kagiso Rabada, he has to come in for somebody. And I'd punt that my wrist spin bowler will cause me more problems at Pune than what a finger spin bowler would do.
All right. Well, that is, of course, depending on selection availability. But this was a riveting conversation. Thank you to Stephen Harmison
Didn't
and
convince
Sanjay
him on
Manjrekar.
Sodhi, but got him to agree on
You-
Shamsi.
You've said so much. I'm sure so many people would be convinced. So we can leave it there. New Zealand, South Africa is a game to watch out for, and that's at Pune in the ICC Men's Cricket World Cup. This was our build-up on Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricinfo Match Day.
Stunning looks, then swift,